Hello, good evening, everyone. You all are warmly welcome to this online workshop. First of all, I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude towards the career guiding units of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura for giving this golden opportunity to us. And I would like to welcome Mr.Naaren Moharanjithan, our guest speaker on behalf of the Faculty of Technology. He has years of experience in teaching English and he is a trained examiner of International English Language Testing System attached to the British Council. So, are you all seeking educational or job opportunities in English speaking countries? So, this program is very important to you all. Actually, I'm not going to talk more. I would like to invite Mr. Naaren to continue this workshop.
Thank you, Buddhi. Thank you for that short and sweet introduction. Well, my name is Naaren Moharanjithan. The good news is I can speak in 3 languages. So you can ask me questions. I will give you some time towards the end of this presentation. But however, if you really feel that you want to stop me and ask me any questions, please do so. You can do it in 3 different ways. You can unmute your microphones and you can ask me questions, or you can type it on the chat. So we'll be able to answer your questions anytime. So what am I going to do today? I'm going to introduce you IELTS. What is IELTS? Why you should take this IELTS? And I'm going to make you feel comfortable with IELTS. So many people think IELTS is a big thing, and whether you might have doubts whether I can actually do IELTS and get through this, and some people might have already done, and what else to do for the next time. So those are the things that I'm going to talk to you about. And at the end, of course, I will give you some questions to ask, any kind of questions acceptable in any language. I mean, 3 languages that I know. All right. Before starting, I'll just give you a 1-minute warmer, maybe 30 seconds warmer. Can you please, if you can chat, I don't know whether the chat facility is there. Dr. Lanka, can they type?
Yeah, they can use the chat box.
Okay. Sorry, first of all, I should have thanked Dr. Lanka for organizing this, the career guiding units, and also my colleagues, Krishanti, Shafiq, and Shanita, who are there somewhere in the crowd watching us. Thank you very much for organizing and inviting me for this. I really like to talk to these young people this evening. All right. So can you go to the chat and quickly type who you are? What faculty are you from? Just the faculty name is okay. So I guess most of you are students. You can go and just chat in the chat line. Just type which faculty you're from. That's it. Then we will start. Technology, okay. Engineering, I'm done. I wonder what F40 is, okay. A faculty of technology, sorry, okay. So it looks like everybody is from faculty of technology. Excellent. All right. So yeah, that means everybody is from faculty of technology. Excellent. Okay, that's enough. If your applied science is also there, okay. Marketing, oh yeah. Oh, that's our friend, okay. Faculty of Technology. Okay, thank you very much. So I think majority of you are from Faculty of Technology. So now let us start then, okay. So here you are. Let me start with my slide here. So welcome to this almost 1.5 hours of discussion. I call it discussion because I always welcome you to ask me questions anytime you want, or just decide to keep your questions to the end, towards the end. Right. What is IELTS in the first place? International English Language Testing System. Now, why International English Language Testing System? About 35 years ago, there was an exam called ELTS, English Language Testing System. So then they converted that into IELTS, International English Test, Language Testing System. So imagine that you are going to another university abroad, or you are migrating to another country. So they might have problems in assessing or knowing what level of English you are in. You might go with your O level or A level certificate from our country. If you produce that certificate to somebody within the country, they will understand what this is. So when you go on international, you will be competing, or you'll be participating courses along with so many people from different countries. They might produce their own certificates from each country, Thailand, um, even for that Europe, Spain, Germany, Middle East, or everybody will come with their own certificates. So the service providers or universities will have a problem in knowing, they could get confused as knowing what your real level is. Therefore, they wanted an international certificate, which is common for everybody. So that is why, that is how International English Language Testing System was born. So it assesses across the countries, everywhere in the world, they know your level is that. So whether you take the exam in Sri Lanka or India or Singapore, Malaysia, Canada, America, if you have 7 bands or 8 bands, that is equal, that is universal. So everybody knows your level is what your level is. Okay, we'll go further. So it assesses your ability to communicate at a full range in international language. You may have your accent, you may have your Sri Lankan accent or Sri Lankanism in your language, but still, the service providers, universities, or embassies, they all have, will all have, okay, will all have a kind of idea about your language. So that is what that is. Okay. There are two modules. One is academic, the other one is general. If you are somebody who is going to pursue your higher studies in another country, in another university, then you will be asked to bring results from academic exam. If you are somebody who is going to migrate to another country, the embassy or high commission would ask you to bring a general certificate. So they are two different things. So the British Council will not tell you, or no exam body will tell you which is suitable for you. So your university will tell you which exam that you need to bring, or the embassy will tell you. So that is how you decide. Okay. Now, if you look at this slide, okay, right. This is the test structure. Now, if you notice, listening and speaking, the one at the top and the one at below, the bottom, are the same for both parties. If you are doing IELTS academic, it will be the same test for you. Listening and speaking will be the same test. But reading and writing will change. When it comes to academic reading, it presents different reading passages. Most of them are scientific passages. So when I say scientific, I'm not talking about science alone. Academic subjects like science, psychology, or designing, sociology, many things from that. But you don't need to be an expert on that. What they are testing is only your reading knowledge. So therefore, academic reading consists of such papers. There will be 3 sections and 40 questions. And the time given to you will be only 60 minutes. So within 60 minutes, you have to read 3 sections and answer 40 questions. Each test item will carry the same mark. That means each one question, 1 mark. Whether it's first section or second section, doesn't matter. But the first section is easier than the second section, and the last section could be more difficult than the first and second. If you want to gain good results, you need to equally look at all these things, practice a lot in all 3 sections, but get maximum marks in the first and the second section. Now, academic writing has 2 papers. One is first part, second part. Part 1 is graphic information is given to you and you have to put it in words. So to be very simple, they'll give you a graph. You might have come across lots of graphs in your presentations, in your when lecturers present you or when you present to the lecturers, some graphs. It could be pie charts, it could be tables, it could be line graphs, so many different things. So they give you a chart, graphic information, and then will ask you to write a 150 worded uh, written work on that. I can't tell you it's whether it's an essay or article, but just a written work of 150 words. How much time you are given? 20 minutes. And then we have 60 minutes. The next is 40 minutes. That is essay. So you write an essay on a given topic, on a general topic. So these essays can be argumentative essays, discursive essay, that is, or it could be a problem and a solution. They might give you a problem and a solution. So give me an example. I'll give you an example. Uh, Overweight is a big problem in many countries. What are the causes for it? What are the solutions? So there are two areas of the question. What are the causes for overweight, obesity? Then you have to state what those two or three problems are. Mostly, we ask you to, the examiners expect you to write two problems, two causes, and then how can you get rid of these problems? Two solutions, and then um, usually an introduction and a conclusion. That is second part. So that becomes a problem for many people because they don't write a lot. So I think the last time we wrote an essay would be when you were in A levels or later. But since you are university students, based on your courses, maybe you're already writing essays, right? So that is academic writing. So let's look at general training, but it may not be very much necessary for you because most of you are students. General training for migration. If you decide to migrate to another country, the reading section again, 60 minutes, three sections and 40 items. But here, the nature of the passages might change, will change. That means general topics like there could be an advertisement, couple of advertisements given, and you might be asked to scan those advertisements and give an answer. Or some, uh, for example, HR, in HR, certain, that is human resource development, human resource, certain guidelines if you are working in a company or if you are joining a club. So then there will be questions based on that. Interestingly, the last part of the general training and and all parts of academic training are the same nature. So there will be same kind of passages. Okay, that is that. General training, writing. Again, there will be an essay in the second part, but the first part is a letter, a general, formal or informal letter. It comes, sometimes informal, sometimes general. Then let's go to listening. Listening, as I told you already, listening is the same for both parties. There will be 4 sections and 40 items of questions, just like academic and general training. Reading, and there will be 30 minutes given. So you listen to people talking to each other. First part, second part, somebody explaining a pie chart or somebody explaining a floor plan of a museum or a university. And finally, the last part would be a lecturer giving a lecture on a certain topic, and you have to listen to the lecture and answer questions. Okay. Uh, when you say answer questions, they are just fill in the blanks, multiple choice questions, or marking a flow chart, marking a graph. Those are the kind of exam items you get. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you a video on writing. Before that, let me talk about speaking also. Speaking is the shortest part of all these things, all these tests. You will be asked to come for a. Okay, give me 1 second. Give me a second, please. All right, sorry about that hiccup. Okay, so that is speaking. Speaking will be 11 to 14 minutes. There'll be three parts. Part one, you're going to watch that video instead of my telling you. So you will watch that video now. Okay. Before that, shall we go for writing video? So please watch this video.
So you've decided.
Well, hang on a minute. I will share that video. Okay, please watch this.
Take the IELTS exam. Good for you. It's the test for study, work, and life. The IELTS writing test is divided into two tasks. The first task differs depending on the module you're taking. There are two IELTS modules. The IELTS academic module is generally taken by anyone intending to pursue higher education studies in an English-speaking institute or country. The IELTS general training module is generally taken for immigration or employment purposes. Here, we look at the criteria of task response for writing task 1 and task achievement for writing task 2. These represent one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. Look for the other 3 criteria in other videos. These criteria focus on the degree to which the exam question has been answered properly. In the academic module, there is a writing task of at least 150 words where you should summarize, describe, or explain a table, graph, or diagram. You might be expected to make comparisons too. Successfully negotiating this academic task 1 means you will need to identify all the key features in the diagram. You might lose marks if important details are left out. Provide sufficient detail for a meaningful explanation, not too much detail, not too little. Ensure accuracy when referring to data or describing trends or processes. It's important to write a clear overview. This means summarizing the most significant trends or features from the data or information in the diagram. This is not simply an introduction to the topic. That's a common mistake. Here's an example of identifying significant trends. Looking at this graph, we would say, from the graph, it is apparent that participation of both men and women in full-time employment has increased over this time period. However, while the numbers of women are generally increasing, the numbers of men in part-time employment are fluctuating. In a question requesting a process description, the overview might identify the key stages in the process. For instance, how many stages there are and what each are, briefly. In the general training module, there is a letter writing task of at least 150 words. In this task, explain the reason for the letter, include all the points mentioned in the question, and use a consistent and appropriate tone. In both modules, task 2 is a short essay task of at least 250 words. You are expected to present your opinion on a specific topic, supporting your ideas with evidence. Task 2 contributes more to your overall writing mark than task 1. To master task 2, you will need to respond completely to all parts of the question, develop and support your ideas. Don't just mention them in a single sentence and move on to the next idea. Add explanations, examples, or experience. Ensure your opinion is clear in your answer. Make sure you underline key words in the exam question, identify how many parts there are to the question, and make sure you do everything you are asked to do. Before you write, plan your ideas, though keep them relevant, then group and sequence them. Spending 2 to 3 minutes doing this can save you time when you are writing. Follow the recommended timings for each task and meet minimum word counts. For more information, please see the other writing test videos: Coherence and Cohesion, Lexical Resource, and Grammatical Range and Accuracy.
Hi again, I'm Adam. Welcome back to ingvid.com. Today's lesson is for the IELTS students who are going to be taking the IELTS test.
Okay, so that's about, I hope you enjoyed that video. That's about writing. So we will, I will show you another video on speaking. Before that, I'd like to go to the next slide. Okay, and explain to you the band scales so that then we can have a mixture of video and discussion. Okay, now this is the band scale. So unlike other exams, other exams tell you you have a pass or a fail. In IELTS, we don't have a pass or fail. What we have are band scales. So what do I mean by this band scale? So it's good to hear that IELTS doesn't tell you you pass the exam or not. It only tells you how much are you, what is your fluency level at the moment of the taking of the test. That's now if you are a zero IELTS band score, that means there is nothing. So it's like I do a Japanese exam on IELTS, so which is not. I will probably get zero because I don't know anything about Japanese. But expert user, I'll go to the top level 9. That means you have fully operational command of the language. That means you're almost like a native speaker. You are very close to a native speaker's language fluency in all skills, in writing, reading, speaking, and listening. So most of the courses, now even I have seen people coming for PhDs, they apply for PhD, and even for them, most of the time, the required band score is 6.5. So if you notice, you are a competent user if you have 6.5. That means you generally effective command. You have a general effective of this. Okay, hang on a second. I'm being disturbed by something. 1 minute. Sorry about that. There was a small issue here. All right. Okay. Now, if you look at this, most of the time you are 6.5 bands. You require your requirement. It depends on the university. If you are a medical student, of course, they ask for 7 bands. And if you are, even for PhD, I have seen, as I told you before, but very rarely they ask for 8 bands and 9 bands. 9 bands, if you want to become an IELTS examiner with the British Council, of course, you will have to produce 9 bands. So work on this 6 to 7 band, most common band scores. But certain times, like if you are going for people who go for easy courses, not easy, I wouldn't say easy, certain courses with low demand, for example, if you are a chef and they don't want a lot of language fluency for a chef, so they go for 5.5, 5, 6, something like that. Okay, so I think it's now once you do the exam, this is how the marks are given. And look at this sample certificate here. And if you notice carefully, you have listening, reading, writing is written here. So these are individual bands. So each test is separately marked, and you are given individual marks like listening 7.0, reading 6, writing 7, speaking 6. So they calculate it and they take an average. So the average is the overall band score of 6.5 in this case. And also another important thing is the exam expires in 2 years. That's why we call it, this is not a qualification, but an entry exam, meaning you are given your level of English at the time of the exam. And once you finish the exam, after 2 years, it expires. So you have to apply for a job or university or whatever within the 2 years of that time. But 2 years is a big time, isn't it? Okay, there is no 6.5 band in the diagram. Well done. That's a very good observation. So somebody asked me, Anuradhya, or somebody is asking me, okay, now how come 6.5? I'm talking about 6.5, but here there is no 6.5. How is it given? So that is why the overall band score is 6.5. So, but even if you, the table shows you only the full marks here, but when you go for the speaking test, the examiner will look at your level, and sometimes he or she might give you 6.5, 7.5, something like can be given. But the maximum is 9 bands. Okay. So when you calculate, you get the 6.5 here. So this is the, any questions about the expiry? Okay, you can keep that question if you want to, or if you want to ask me, like somebody did now, you can ask me. So I think I explained that. How comes the 0.5 band comes in? Because that is because although the chart shows all the full bands here, when you go to the exam, you might end up in getting 6.5, 5.5, but no 6.25 or something like that. Either the full band or full plus half band. Okay. Therefore, if somebody comes and tells you, I sat for the exam and I got 10 bands for English, my English is so good, that means he or she is lying. So remember, there is no 10 bands. So you can't be having 10 bands. 9 bands is the maximum. But having said that, there are other exams, Cambridge exams. If you are somebody who has already sat for these exams, and that is Cambridge exam, CELA exam, the top exam is CPE. That is more than 9 bands. So there are exams more than 9 bands. So that's just telling you. So those are qualifications which don't expire. But here, in 2 years, you get expired. All right. Now let us look at this slide of the speaking test. I'll share, don't worry.
So you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Congratulations.
All right.
Success starts with IELTS. The speaking test is divided into 3 sections. Part 1 is the introduction and general questions. Part 2 is the long turn, and Part 3 is an analytical discussion. It's important to understand the criteria on which you will be tested in the IELTS exam. First, we consider the criteria of fluency and coherence. This is one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. We'll cover the other 3 in later videos. Fluency and coherence refer to your ability to speak at length, including organizing ideas logically and appropriately signposting. It also refers to your ability to express and justify opinions and to discuss and speculate about issues without long pauses or repetition of the same words. Signposting is the use of words or phrases that indicate the direction of your thoughts. We will give you some examples of this in a moment. Many students try memorizing large portions of speech to repeat during the speaking test, but this can add unnecessary stress and sound unnatural. We don't recommend this approach. Here are a few tips to improve your speaking test performance. As you are speaking about a topic, build on your point of view by adding a few details. For example, if the question is, "What do you do?" rather than responding with, "I am a teacher," you might expand this to, "I have been a high school mathematics teacher in New York for over 5 years." For part 2 of the test, use the bullet points on the task card to help you structure your long turn and make notes in the 1 minute that's given using key words. In part 3, particularly, it is important to develop your answers and to speak at length. You can do this by thinking of reasons, effects, comparisons, supporting examples, and personal experience. Just make sure you are signposting what you say. For example, discussing excessive TV watching, you might mention reasons, increasing numbers of TV channels compared to a generation ago, and the popularity of TV characters. Effects, increasing obesity levels, eyesight problems, and other health issues. Experience, my nephew watches nothing except cartoons. He will not study. Here are some examples of signposting for part 3 of the test. Compare, contrast. In my view, there are 2 main differences. Responding to a point. Yes, I agree because, or I'm not sure I agree with that. You see, speculating on the future. I think we'll probably see a lot of, or maybe there'll be more, or it's unlikely that we will have. Practice is the key to increasing your fluency. There are no shortcuts. Practice using English in everyday communication as much as you can. Record yourself talking about different subjects, then play it back and listen for linking expressions, hesitation, words you may be repeating, and times when your speech is slow. This will help improve your fluency. The assessment criteria is the only thing on which you will be tested. You will not be assessed on your appearance, body language while speaking in the exam, or your creative ideas. IELTS examiners are very consistent with their application of the IELTS assessment criteria. It is the same assessment given everywhere in the country and everywhere in the world. For more information, please see the other speaking test videos, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation.
Okay. So I'll give you some more information about the
Hi there. My name is Emma, and in today's lesson, we will be looking at how to do well on the speaking part of IELTS. So the speaking...
Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, I hope you can see this, the slides here. So they were talking about only fluency and coherence in speaking test. Okay, so I will just give you an overview of what are the other criteria. So one is grammatical resources and structures. So that means how good is your grammar. So right now, think about if you're thinking about sitting for the exam, always think about your grammar. And I'll give you a simple clue here. All your grammatical expressions, your your language should have complex structures, not simple structures. I'll give a very small example. So people ask you, what do you do in your free time? So the examiner asks you, what do you do in your free time? So look at this answer. I am a very busy person. I don't have enough free time. On Sundays and Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes I have some free time. At that time, I take my children to a beach or a park. So see, all my sentences, I used 5 sentences. All are very small and simple structures. But look at this answer. Then you will be getting not more than 5 bands for this language. A very short sample that I gave you. Now, if the examiner asks the same question, and look at my answer now. Talking about hobbies, since I don't have a lot of time, I'm a very busy person. I teach at a university, so I don't have a lot of time. But I make sure during the weekends, when I have a little time, I take my son and daughter to a beach or a park. Now, those sentences are complex structures, long structures connected with so, but, therefore, that is why, as a result. So this is what I talk about. This is what grammatical structures are all about. So sometimes structures like not only, but also, having said that, um, you know, sometimes people use the form or the latter. Okay. Do you live in a house or an apartment? So you might say, well, I have both. I have my ancestral house in Kurunagala, but I live in an apartment in Colombo. The former was built by my grandfather. It's a large house with lots of rooms. I think there are about 5 rooms. But whereas the latter is an apartment with 3 bedrooms. So see, I'm using former and latter. When you talk to people, you may not talk to people like that. When you talk to a friend, you might not use language like former and latter. But remember, this is a formal interview. Therefore, you can use such structures when you speak. So when you speak, structures like that are welcome to be used in the exam. Now, the third criteria is vocabulary, lexical resources. How strong are you using words? So there you might be using idiomatic expressions. Sometimes you will be using phrasal verbs. So such words are, I think it's time for you to kind of look at those words and get trained on that. But do not memorize and just go and spit it out in the exam. Some people do that. Some videos are there, they watch those videos and memorize those phrases, like what you heard in the video. So that's the examiner will be able to very quickly understand that these are memorized phrases. Okay. So for example, cup of tea. So do you play tennis? Tennis is not my cup of tea. It's acceptable. But if you are using a cup of tea, every other answer, then it's going to be, they know that you are repeating and you have memorized this and you want to just impress the examiner by showing off that you know some idiomatic expressions. So it should naturally fall into the speech. All right. So we looked at 3: fluency and coherence in the video, lexical resources, that means vocabulary, grammatical structure. The fourth one is pronunciation. Pronunciation, it's not only word level pronunciation I'm talking about, it includes intonation patterns, how you keep uttering a sentence, a long sentence with rise and fall of your voice. Okay. It should not, your pronunciation should not have mother tongue influence. You should not sound like a Sinhala person or Tamil person speaking English. For higher bands, for 6 bands, 7 bands, you can be very natural. But okay, somebody's asking whether you can share the screen. Can you see the screen now? Can somebody say yes?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Fine. All right, fine. Okay. Fazli Ahmed, can you see the screen? Okay, hopefully now you can see. Okay, he's the one who asks me. Oh, yes, she. Okay, fine. So I was talking about pronunciation now. Okay, ups and downs of your language and all that. But do not try to put up an accent. don't think that only if you speak like a person from US, Australia, or UK will gain marks. No, you can be a pure Sri Lankan. You can have a pure Sri Lankan accent, like what I'm having here. A general, educated Sri Lankan accent is enough for even 9 bands. So please do not try to act in the exam just as if you just arrived from the UK or US. That's not going to work, because when the exam gets tougher and tougher, the third part, when you have to explain your opinions on certain things, your natural language will come back. So therefore, it's very difficult to pretend with that accent. So don't worry too much about the accent. What you need to do is to see whether you have problems like, so typical Sri Lankan problems are there. For example, S becomes is, for school becomes is school, or sports becomes is sport, or sometimes P becomes fur. So for um, pudding, sometimes people might say fooding. Uh, you know, a overcorrection for seat, a seat in the airplane or a bus. Sometimes people say sheet. So if you have such problems, um, you have to be careful with that. Other than that, you don't need to worry too much about that. In pronunciation, they also check whether you can have the flow. If you're pausing here and there unnecessarily, it will not only affect the fluency band, also your pronunciation band score. Okay, Bandara is asking, will all the exams will happen on the same day or not? Thanks for that question, Mr. Bandara. Actually, listening, all the written ones, listening, reading, and writing will be held on the same day. You will be asked to come for a speaking test on another day prior to the exam, the written exam, or after the exam, depending on the schedule. You can pick and choose a date for your speaking. But having said that, there are two different modes of the exam. I will explain to you in a moment. When that happens, you may have all the exams in one day also. Okay, I'll explain to you when I come to that. All right, the certificates are done. Now we are going to some more credentials. Why IELTS, the world's most popular test for education and immigration? Because it is given available in 1,100 countries, locations in over 140 countries, so all over the world, almost all over the world. If you look at the map, even America, usually TOEFL was very, very popular there, but now America is also, not now, I mean 10 years ago they started accepting IELTS. So it's valid everywhere in the whole world. So that's a very good big key for you to start your higher education. Choice of format. So this is what I was about to tell you. There are two formats. That is why IELTS is again very famous and popular. One is you can do the pen and paper based one. That is, you all the tests are written. They give you papers and you sit in an exam hall like the conventional exam hall, and you write the answers like what all your university exams are held in that way. And we also have a computer delivered exam. That means, except for the speaking test, all the other papers are done on the paper, on a computer. So I will tell you more about the computer. That is one reason why IELTS is popular. And very good customer service. Test center staff provide excellent customer service. They talk to you in a nice way. They give you a lot of information. And anytime you have a problem with your results or delays or anything, you can talk to them. Postponement and things like that. And recognition. Once again, 11,000 organizations, including 3,000 plus in the USA, accept IELTS course. Okay, it is accepted in the UK, Australia, all English-speaking countries, USA, New Zealand, even the list. India is also in the list. Certain degrees, if you are going to follow degrees in another university, a university in India, even there they are now starting. They are asking for IELTS. So frequency. They test, you don't need to wait for 6 months for your results, or 6 months for your next test. So paper-based, over 40 test dates are there per year for 3 to 4 months, that is. Computer delivered, multiple sessions a week. So that means Monday to Friday, any day you can go and do the exam. There are 2 exams each day. So I'm talking to you like a flight details, right? So if you have a flight to London, there are 3 flights to London from Colombo. Likewise, we have 2 tests on a same day. You can choose either the morning session or the evening sessions. And that is one of the reasons why we are famous. And results are fast. You don't need to wait for 3, 4 or 5 weeks or a month. Within 13 days, paper-based results are out. And within 5 days, 3 to 5 days, computer delivered tests are out. So people who really need the test like next week can go and sit this week and get the results in 5 days. All right. So these are the reasons why IELTS is continuing to continue to be a very popular exam. Now, what I told you about this, I think many of you are not aware of this computer delivered IELTS. It's a new thing, not very new, that we have been doing this for more than 2 years now. So what is this? Who should take this IELTS? What is computer delivered testing? Okay, it's the same test. There is no division. You can't say paper-based is easier than computer-based or computer-based is easier than paper-based. It's the same. The standard is the same. The question papers will be the same. Content will be the same. And then preparation will be the same. You need to get prepared for the exam and all that is the same. And results format is also the same. So there is nothing. So then you ask me, why should we then do this exam? So one answer I've already given you. You get the results in 5 days, 3 to 5 days, right? At the moment, the speaking test still face-to-face. There is no computer delivered, does not have a different format. Speaking test will be the same like the paper-based. Having said that, you need to notice, if you live in Jaffna, Batticaloa, Mathara, Gaul, Kurunagala, certain test dates are there where because of the COVID-19 situation, the speaking test is done on a computer, on a Zoom link, just like what we are doing now. So the examiner will not go to Jaffna or Batticaloa or Mathara. They will sit in British Council, Colombo, and deliver the exam through the Zoom platform. Candidates will be sitting not at their homes, but in a test center for example, Jaffna, we have the British Council branch. But in Mathara and Batticaloa, there are no British Council branches, but the partners, test exam partners are there. They arrange everything for you. You can go to their own facility and sit there, and they will put you in the room where there will be a computer and the camera, everything is set up. Then you speak to an examiner, just like you see me on the screen. Okay, and the same thing, nothing. Everything will be the same. All right. So then there are other reasons why. What does computer delivered IELTS offer? Choice between taking IELTS on computer. Sometimes some people might feel comfortable in typing, especially these millennials. They are all very good in their typing. So if you prefer to type your answers rather than writing either pen and paper, then this would be a very good thing for you. And if your typing speed is faster than your writing speed on paper, I think this would be the best for you. But if you are someone who just picks and pecks on the keyboard, looking for the words here and there, then I wouldn't recommend this for you. Okay. And then most test dates sessions are there. So as I told you, 5 days are there. You can sit for all 5 days for the exam. So that is one good thing about this. Another thing is, I have covered all these 5 days, you get the results. There are so many other things to consider. If you are somebody prefer typing over writing, so if your handwriting is not that very good, very great, but remember, no marks given for handwriting. If you have bad handwriting, also examiners try their level best to read it, give some time to read what you have written. But if you feel comfortable over writing, then this is the exam for you. This is also another very good thing, modern user interface. You know, when you use a computer, once the test starts, you can do so many things with the computer. There is a countdown timer. Okay, it counts how much time is there. In pen and paper, they announce you. You have another half an hour more, 30 minutes more. But here there won't be announcements, but the interface will tell you how much time you have. So that is there. It also tells you how much you have completed. Okay, now this much you have completed. You have another 10 questions to go, but you have only 10 minutes. So you can just observe all those things. And in terms of word processing, this is really nice. You can edit. That means you can cut and paste. In pen and paper, you have to erase or cut, put a line across. Remember, for neatness, there is no marks given. So you can, when you're writing the pen and paper exam, you can, of course, put a cross or put a line over a word that you made a mistake of, and then you can write over it. But in this case, you can edit, you can cut and paste. When it comes to reading and listening, you can highlight the text. All those things can be done. You can look at the word count. In pen and paper, you have to count your words, whether you have finished 250 words in your essay or 150 words in your first part. You need to physically count. But here, the word count is on. Highlighting options are there, as I told you before. All these will make you choose between. But I am not selling computer-based IELTS exam here. I am not marketing for that. So remember, that's not the case. Anything is, both the exams are the same. Okay. So one more thing. Okay. Wait a minute. There's somebody's asking me a question. Let me try to answer that. All right. Okay. So we have all that is okay. I got the marks on speaking test. Can I repeat that? Right. Okay. That's a good question. Yashara is asking, if you get less marks in speaking, one test, can I repeat only that test? Unfortunately, no. You had to sit for the whole exam. And that also gave that. Okay. Also gives me another answer for you to answer, another question to answer. That is, if you don't go for one exam, you will not get the results. Imagine that you went to the reading and writing, and then you decided this time I didn't do well. I don't want to go for speaking, but let me see how much I have scored in my reading and writing. Then you won't get the results. You will be marked unattended, even if you don't go for one test. Okay. Okay, can we take the exam another time? The marks are low or in the first time? Yes, of course. Silva is asking, HKD Silva. Well, yes, of course you can sit for the exam once again. But those days there was a frame. I remember 10 years ago, or 5 or 6, probably 10 years ago, you had to wait for 1 month to do the test. But now you can do it even the next day. But my advice is, if you get lower scores, you should not do it immediately. You need to practice for some time. That's why they had that frame of 1 month gap. But here, you need to practice a lot. At least give yourself 1 or 2 weeks and then do a lot of practice and do that. Okay. Somebody is asking the cost. Of course, I will talk about the cost in a moment. Okay. When I come to that slide. Okay. So now, this is a very, very, okay, wait a minute. This is a very common question asked. Not this, I'm sorry, this one. Okay. Is the test more difficult at the British Council? All right. The answer is no. The test is an international exam, right? Wherever you sit for the exam, it will be the same. You go and sit for the exam in the UK or USA or even Thailand or Singapore. Wherever you go, it's the same test, and the examiners are trained in the same way. Examiners go through a very rigorous training and very stringent guidelines, and examiners are trained and also standardized every other year. To become an examiner, the British Council expert examiners will train you and see whether you are capable of examining next year also. So those things, it's not easy to become an examiner and keep on an examiner. So those things are done. So you can't say, the exam is easier here or not. This reminds me another good question. One of my students recently asked me, "Sir, if I go and sit for the exam in Nigambu, will I get good results?" So I asked why. Because he said, because Nigambu examiners can be lenient than Colombo examiners. I told the examiners are the same. They are all centered in Sri Lanka. That is Colombo and Kandy. So it's a silly question for her to ask that question, because wherever you sit, for that matter, not only within Sri Lanka, even if you go and sit somewhere else, the results are going to be the same. Why? There are reasons for that. This is one reason. The test is exactly the same, no matter where you take, because test standardization, that's what I told you about now. The examiners are standardized. Test is also standardized. Before every exam is given, there is a question bank in the UK. So they go through all the tests and see whether one test is easier than the previous test. Okay, so all that is done. It's a 35-year-old exam, and Cambridge is more than 100 years old exam, 100 years. So they know what they are doing. So standardized tests, examiners are standard, papers are standard. Therefore, there is no, you don't have that question in you, whether I do this here or do that there, will be the same. Now, some more questions. Yes, Krishanti Roberts is telling me, British Council representatives telling the same paper is given all over Sri Lanka. For example, if the exam is tomorrow, there's a session tomorrow in Batiklo. Is there's a session Mathura, same paper goes there. Same paper, not only same paper, same timing. So you can't make a call to a person in Jaffna and ask what was the question. No, it's not going to happen. Okay. All these pre-test, test day, results, all standardized. Security systems are in place, so in the world. So because before releasing the exam, did you know that your reading, writing, listening, all these papers go to the UK? Only the speaking test is marked on the spot by examiners. All the rest go to England, whether you do it in British Council or any other provider, all go to the UK and corrected there. So there is no point in telling that the exam is easier in one place than the other. Okay. So now we are coming to how we can support you. All right. So now you asked the British Council to do this presentation for you. So first one is done, and an awareness presentation, what IELTS is and all that. Now, what else can British Council do for you? We can offer additional study support free of charge to candidates that register with us. Once you register for the exam, only after registration, once you register, we give you these things. A free online preparation course. So there is a 30-hour online course. It's a very interesting course. I'll give more details here. It's called Road to IELTS, an online-based thing. So you have IELTS practice papers there, free IELTS last-minute versions, practice all over. So you can select for reading. You can start out with there could be a pre-test. So you do the pre-test and tell you where you are at the moment. Then you can do the test. You do the study content for 30 hours, and then you can do the post-test. So it divided into reading, listening, speaking, and writing. You can go all over and practice these sessions with this free 30-hour course. Somebody is asking, okay, I will answer these questions in a moment. Very good. I'm very happy people asking questions. And then we also have a free practice workbook. In the slide, you can see, a paper-based book there we give you. But nowadays, not only because of the COVID-19 situation, but also because to save paper and trees, there is a digital version. Once you register, they give you, there are 2 or 3 tests there, giving you a lot of explanation. That is another thing. And there is a free top tips seminar. This is a 2-hour session, not the one that we are experiencing now is not that. It is the awareness program. But after you register, there will be a top tip seminar looking into all 4 skills a little bit deeper manner and giving you tips. So in this paper, do this, in that paper, do this. This is the best practice and all that. So we used to give that face to face. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, now we are doing online. I said unfortunately because we don't meet you face to face. I say fortunately because of this, we can give this service to all over Sri Lanka. People in, even people, we do the exam. British Council does the exam for Maldivians. So even we get Maldivians participating in these free seminars online. Whether you are in Gaul or Mathura, Kandy, Patiklo, Jaffna, no problem. Mannar, no problem. You can come to this exam, this session for 2 hours. You can ask questions with the examiner. There will be an examiner who would be doing that, an IELTS expert. Okay. And then also we give you free online preparation course. Somebody was asking, where can I find a proper English language? There are so many people who are doing this outside. There are institutes who are doing it all over the country. British Council also gives you a 3-hour online. I'm sorry, this is not that course. This is a reading course. Sorry, writing, especially for writing, because writing is something that people are very much afraid of. The top tip I was talking about gives you an overview of everything, all 4 skills, whereas this focuses on only on reading, only writing section, okay? And which is also a 3-hour online thing. You will be given practice sessions, you will be writing things online, and the examiners will be doing that. And also, once you do this, once you register with the British Council, you are given exclusive discount on IELTS library membership. Now, there is this online membership is also possible these days, so you can get them. And also, British Council courses are available. So before going to British Council courses, let me go to the chat and try to answer any questions that are closer to us. Okay. Registration, I'll come to that. So firstly, I'm asking which academy is best to IELTS in Sri Lanka. Before I have been follow. Okay, I felt not good, but I'm sorry. Firstly, we do not recommend organizations. There could be very good organizations, but there could be not very good organizations, but we have no right to judge them. So you have to decide, okay? Okay, now somebody is asking, I think Binoli Kaladera is asking, do we have an average point? If I get 8 bands as the final test result, is it enough for all the above mentioned countries? Again, all that we don't give you any opinion on that. That you need to look at those prospectors from the universities, and in online you can see what courses. Different courses require you different band, as I told you already. So if you are looking for a PhD course, your band score must be 6.5. If you are doing another course, maybe it's only 6. But if you are doing a medical course, 7. I know that's what I'm telling you. So it depends. It depends on the university, depends on the country also. So you need to decide that by asking. So there are some people who do this. Even the universities are doing certain counseling programs as to how to go. And British Council also has certain counseling programs. So those are the people who can help you with that. But I know the average is around above 6, definitely, for a university course. All right. Now, somebody asked me about the pricing. There are 3 ways you can register. One thing is register online. So we don't need to go to the British Council register. Nowadays, you can't go out of bounds because of the coronavirus. Okay. Exams are held. For exams, you are allowed to go inside. But for libraries, the library is closed. The registration center is closed at the moment. Only online things can happen. You can pay. This is the charge. Somebody asked me. 31,500. Krishanti, if I am wrong, please correct me. Can we go now to the British Council? and register, or is it still online? Okay, I will wait for her answer.
Naren, actually, we can visit the British Council office and register over the counter as well.
Well done.
If pay for the service as well, but the recommended option is to pay for your test online because it's quicker and it's also safer.
Thank you very much. So sorry, because sometimes back it was out of bounds, but now they have started. Slowly things are coming back to normal, I suppose, but I am not an expert on that. So register and pay online through this link, but the website will give you all this information if you want to go to. Or you can pay by cash or credit card at the British Council Registration Center. In person, you can go there and do that. Or you can make a direct bank transfer from a bank of your choice. Online transfer, and then you can submit the proof of payment online. The payment is made via a direct bank transfer. So this is very normal, common here. So this has become new normal now. Everybody knows what to do with this. All right. Now we have island-wide registration centers. Imagine that you live in another part of the country. All these places in the map. From Jaffna to Vaunia to Anuradhapura, Trincomalee, Batticaloa, Ampara, Badulla, Kandy, all these places, Ambanda to Matara, you can do registration centers. Some of these registration centers also provide language courses that somebody asked me about that. So you can inquire from there. So, but these people, all these centers, except for Jaffna and Kandy, others are private institutions. So they provide you with the registration services. So you register with them, they will take care of giving you the places and all those things will be happening. They will walk with you until you get the results. Okay. Before questions, okay, now it's time for you to ask questions. You can either type the question, you can ask me in Sinhala or Tamil if you speak both the languages, or you can even ask me in English if you want to, by opening, you're unmuting your video. If you want to have a face-to-face conversation with me, you can also start your video. Okay, there are a couple of questions, okay. Valid time period for this result. Yes, it is 2 years. 2 years valid period, so it doesn't expire within 2 years. So if you are looking for a university, once the university you're ready, then look at those information from the university websites. They will tell you what is the band score requirement. Then you can sit for the exam. But my advice is, all right, my advice to you is give yourself plenty of time for preparation. My usual advice is at least write 20 to 25 written answers, and at least do 25 to 30 papers, listening, reading, and speaking. Of course, you can record your voice and listen to, and do those things before you go to the exam. Do not just walk into an exam and just waste your money. Okay, so you must know what that is. So unlike in the old days, in my days when I was doing my IELTS, I had a tape recorder, the old-fashioned tape recorder, to record my voice and listen. But now your phones can, your mobile phones, there are so many facilities to record your voices. So please do that before you go to the exam. If you're applying for technical job fields such as engineering, which criteria of value do we? Okay, that's a good question. Aradhana is asking for employment purposes. Once again, you need to look for the website. Some companies ask for general, some companies ask for academic. So you need to make your decision on that. So Yasara, that 31,500 does not include any tuition fee. That is only the exam fees. The tuition fees, you need to call British Council and get their information about the course fees. There are some courses run even now, so you better ask them. Okay. Prabodhin, is it possible to postpone IELTS exam date? Yes, Krishanti, what is the course? I mean, what is the payment levied for that? If you apply for an exam and then you feel, okay, something went wrong in the family, also I want to postpone. How much are we supposed to pay, Krishanti?
Yes, so if there is a requirement to go for a transfer, a test date transfer as we call it, then the cost would be 3,500 rupees. Then they can transfer that their exam to any future test date in any location. Even the location can be changed.
Sorry, interesting. Thank you. So how much that was it? I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't focus on that. 3,000, right?
3,500.
500, right. Okay. Thank you, Kushanti. So somebody's asking, Bandar asking again, past papers or some resources to get ideas about the examination. Right. There are no past papers. IELTS exam does not have past papers, but there is a series called Cambridge IELTS, book 1 to now, I think 19th book has come, book 1 to 19. So your library must have it. Just Jayadunapur Library. I don't know, but I guess many university libraries have them. So, or you can even purchase those books. Those are not very expensive. Those books provide you almost similar to the exam. So there is this exam policy, this exam body does not release their past papers. But in my experience, based on my experience, I'm telling you, those papers that we see in those books, I'll repeat that again. Cambridge IELTS, book 1 to book 20. Book 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit old, but the other books will be definitely useful for you. They give plenty of practice material. Each book has 4 tests and 2 general tests and 4 tests, academic tests. But nowadays, academic books are separately printed, so you can buy them. And internet, of course, plenty of resources. But having said that, let me warn you, there are certain videos. Go for British Council videos, the ones that I showed you. Um, those are the best ones because sometimes some are misleading. So now some people come to the exam hall, I mean to the speaking test with full of makeup and lot of perfumes and all that because they have given a wrong impression. Your personality is important to get more, to gain confidence in the exam and all that. But I'm sorry, you are not marked on those things. You're not marked on the perfume that you wear or your hairstyle or what clothes you wear. No, no, no. We only look at your language. Okay. And also, some people, they are very, very, on the exam date, they are very friendly. They come and say, excuse me, sir or madam, may I take my seat? Or thank you very much for your time, for accepting me as your candidate. All that is waste of time. You are putting the examiner under pressure because there is a time limit the examiner has to adhere to. So do not waste your time. And when you go back also, don't make a speech of vote of thanks for having you in the exam. Nobody's going to mark you up or down for that. Also remember, you are not supposed to ask the examiner, how was my performance, madam? Did I do well? Or you don't say, I have seen you on TV, or nice, I remember your presentations, and all that's not going to bring you any marks. Remember, this is a professional exam, so we need to think about that. Sometimes certain videos give you certain words and tell you, if you use these words, I am 100% sure you are going to get the best results. Then they give you 5 words and they ask you, would you like to get 7 bands and more? Use these 5 words, you are sure to get it. But please don't believe in those things, right? But there are some very good videos also I have seen. So once again, go for the standard videos. Okay. Another question. Okay. Unfortunately, yes. So somebody's asking, I don't want to mention names here again. I don't want to embarrass you. If you pay for the first time, do you have to pay again another 31,500? Unfortunately, yes. So a test is a new test. So you need to pay the whole amount. Okay. So should the result not be expired at the time of? No, once you get the results in your hand, there is a date in the result, right? So example, so for example, say Rashmi Ratnayaka, band score 8.5 on 17th of August. That means after 2 years on 17th August, it will expire. So within that, you need to go to this. Okay. Sri Lankan get band 9 without accent? Definitely, definitely. So that's what I told you. Many Sri Lankans get. Rare, but in a month, at least 2-3 people definitely get 9 bands. No worries. I mean, if you have that level of English, you can. As I told you, it's not the accent. Please don't focus on the accent. Okay. How long can we take complete the exam after registering? No issues. You can register even at least 3 months before. Am I correct, Shanti?
Yes, Naren. In fact, the test dates are open for till the end of this year. It's open for registration. So you can even register for a test date in December. You can register for it now and start preparing.
Well done. So time is not a problem for you. Well done. Thank you. So you should give yourself a lot of time. So you can register and then look for the exam, or prepare and then register. Nowadays, the exams are now getting full because of, I think, many countries are opening their doors for us. So we don't know still, but people are getting prepared. We are getting lots of numbers nowadays. Then the available past papers here. Can we choose the date of the exam? Yes, of course, Dinesha. You can choose the date. So you can go online and see there are so many test dates. You can pick and choose one. Okay, and see whether they are full or not. If it is full, they will tell you, sorry, the test date is full. So you can go to another test date. Okay. And then, yes, 9 bands. Okay. Are we getting the results in the same day? No. You have to wait. If you are doing the pen and paper results, Prasad, you need to wait for 14 days, 13 to 14 days. But computer-based results, you will get in 5 days, 3 to 5 days. So in the application form, they ask you whether you'd like to receive the results on a SMS. They send you an SMS, and then you can go and collect the results from British Council. Okay. Can the exam results as a proof of something even after expiration? Unfortunately, after expiration, yeah, maybe it's a proof for some people, but universities and embassies, they look for the expiry date very, very critically. Okay. So I don't know whether people, employers might look at that, but I'm not very sure about that. But the results expired means it is expired, it's over, right? Nice question. If you apply for Canada, should I pronounce like Canadian? No. Even if you apply for Canada, your examiner is going to be a Sri Lankan or somebody. Now, by the way, there are Sri Lankan, British Council has Sri Lankan examiners predominantly. Most of them are Sri Lankans, but there are 1 or 2 native speakers, UK, people from the UK also. British Council teachers are also examiners. But majority of us are Sri Lankans. And you don't need to put, we don't know whether you're going to Canada or UK when you come to the exam. We judge you as the way you speak. So we assess you as the way you speak. So you don't, just because you're going to Canada, you don't need to put up a Canadian accent. No. You be yourself, right? As I told you, even if you speak like me, I don't have a Canadian accent or a European accent or an American accent for that matter. What I have is a good, standard, acceptable Sri Lankan accent. So I can get 9 bands. So if I can get 9 bands, definitely for pronunciation, you also should be able to get 9 bands. Okay. Oh yeah, those are the questions. We have still some more time. So yes, we have plenty of time. Another 20 minutes, so you can ask me any questions. All right. So let me also give you frequently asked questions are there. I will pose some questions here about the situation at the moment, COVID situation, how safe is to do the exam. Well, British Council is one of the safest places to go for the exam. Now, once you come in, you are asked to wash your hands, and then they give you some sanitizers to wash your hands, and they check your, just like everywhere else, they check your body temperature. And if you're sneezing, or if you have a cough or anything, you'll be asked to come on another day. So the examiners are also, they wear gloves and masks, and there is a sneeze guard. There's a new word, isn't it? There's a sneeze guard, means some glass framework kept in front of the examiner, separating you and the examiner. You'll be on the other side with 1 meter distance, and you'll be wearing mask throughout. Sometimes if you are very, very silent, and if the examiner cannot understand anything what you say, they might ask you to remove your mask, but the examiners will not remove their masks, and you will be doing the exam. Okay. And even you don't touch the paper. The second part, remember, they give you a topic for you to prepare for 1 minute and deliver a speech on that. There also, the topic card is kept in a frame, a plastic frame, and slid towards you. And then the examiner does not touch that frame, even the frame. So before the exam, one exam is over, imagine one interview is over, then you get our cleaning people. They come and give a thorough sanitizing to the table, the chair, even the door handle, everything clean. So probably you may not catch anything when you come to the British Council test winners. All right. Minimal passing limit according to the countries. Yes, Nayanatara is asking. Yes, of course. Yeah, it depends on the countries once again. Sometimes, if I can remember, Canada was asking for 8 bands in listening and 6.5 bands for other things for migration. But now they have changed. Now they're asking only 7 bands after the COVID situation. So time to time, they change their policies. So you need to look for those policy changes, because we are not informed. British Council is not informed about that. Okay. Somebody's thanking already. Okay, how long we have to spend classes at the British Council? So if you, I think there are 5 hours classes, 3 hour classes, and also short time classes. Most of them are now online. I am not, Krishanti, are classes held even right now? Online classes?
Yes, Naren. So classes are held at the moment. No face-to-face classes though. All the classes for IELTS are held online.
All right. So that's very precise information. Yes. So they do have classes. British Council teachers are there to deliver those classes. All right. Any more questions? Any FAQs, Kushanti, on behalf of candidates?
Yeah, I think it will be great, Naren, if you can just touch on how important it is to prepare for IELTS, to practice for it before going and taking the test, and when booking the test, to give enough time for them to practice, because when they register for the test with us, they also get access to a whole lot of resources. So they can make use of all those resources if they book their test date very early.
Thank you for reminding me that. Yes, practice is the key for anything, right? For I have seen people, you'll be surprised. I've seen people who have done the exam by 35 times. I have met certain people. The 35 times they do the exam, trying to get the required results. So what they do, they go to the exam, do the test, get the results, and immediately apply for it. They don't practice. So if you don't practice, whatever times you take the exam, the results are going to be the same. So as Kushanti says, make use of these resources and practice thoroughly before you go to the exam. So since you are university students, certain things can happen. For example, when it comes to when it comes to speaking, you can simply be an examiner, your friend becomes a candidate, you can do a lot of practice. And then, as I repeatedly told you, you can record your own voice and listen to it, see where you lack, where you are good. So those things can definitely help you a lot in your exam. And then writing. One student I knew wrote about 100 essays before he went to, more than 100, I'm just telling you, 100 essays before he went to the exam. So see, that is commitment, right? Once you have that commitment, then you can do that. So, but if you have a good teacher who can guide you in the university or elsewhere, so you can have an assessment of where you are at the moment. For that, do you remember we were talking about this online course, 30 hours course, the free of charge course can also help you to tell you where you are at the moment. Based on that, you can decide your test dates and practice more. I mean, of course, you get that after you register for the exam, but I'm just mentioning there are lots of materials to prepare. So once again, practice is the key. Practice a lot, as write as many scripts as possible, get somebody to correct them, and then work on that. Yes. So that is important. Okay, somebody's asking, once we register, what is the time we can send face the exam? No, that's what. Even December dates are now open. That means we have 6 months. Imagine that you want to do the exam on 20th of December. You register for December session, but now you have plenty of time, like more than 5 months to prepare. So yes, you can register for a later date and prepare from now. At the moment, exam registrations are open until December. Of course, 2022 is not started yet. Okay. Right. There's another good question. When it comes to speaking, people tend to speak words like so, but, because, like, etc. a lot. How does flow of English impact on? Very good question. Right. So we expect you to have these cohesive devices. I gave you an example. I'll repeat that example again. What do you do in your free time? I'm a very busy person. Therefore, I don't get a lot of free time. But when I get some free time, I make sure that I spend some quality time with my family, especially during the weekends. So what we do is to get together and pick a place to go to, and then we spend hours and hours in a beach or a park. So that's what I do, because I know it's very important to spend quality time with your family. So what can I say? I use those words in a non-artificial manner, a natural way. So if you are using so every other sentence, yes, you are going to be penalized. It's going to impact on your fluency, because you are making use of certain words. A very good example is like. Many people have been fossilized with the word like. Example, I like, no have I don't have enough time, like, to spend time, like, with my children, like, that's what I make use of the, like, the weekends to go to the park, like, so there are those likes doesn't have any meaning. The like that I use, right? It is used as a filler, an unnatural filler, artificial filler, to keep going. So that is, if you are using such words, of course, you are going to be penalized. But that will definitely impact on your flow. Okay. So that's a good question. What are you including for rupees 31,500? So I'm sorry, I am not the one who decided this 31,500. It is decided by the UK, by the global company in UK. But this includes those free seminars. Okay, even the seminar that you are doing now, and also the test results, payment for examiners, payment for papers, shipping from the UK, all the papers come from the UK, and then test venue staff, marketing, everything. So that's what that 31,500 is all about. Okay. Yes, when remember when I was doing the exam, it was like 16,000 rupees. But the dollar rate is changing, the pounds are going high. So luckily, this does not include any of the currency changes within the COVID-19 situation. This is just there. If it is the case, now the exam fee must be very high, because our currency has gone down. Free access to host of preparing support resources. Okay. Yeah, it is. Yes. Krishant is adding to my point. Yeah, you are getting free access to all those materials. The 30 hours online course is free. The 2 hour seminar is free. The 3 hour writing exam preparation is free. All that is included in that. Imagine that you go for a 2 hour session, you have to pay for it, but here you are getting all those things free. Okay. All right, that's a good question. Rayasan is asking, you pass the exam, you get the results, you go abroad, you do a degree, you become a PhD holder. When you come back, can I use these IELTS results? No, because it expires in 2 years, right? I don't think any international university courses can be completed in 2 years. So it takes more than 2 years. So if you manage to finish a course within 2 years, yes, it is still valuable and usable, but unlikely is it take. Okay. Okay. Can we participate in the class and take exams whenever we need? Yes, of course. When you go for the class, when you apply for a course at the British Council, they are not going to ask you when you are going to sit for the exam. Irrelevant. So you do the course. You can do it next year or whatever year you can. Okay. That's not a problem. You can do the course and wait for how many, whatever months or days you can, weeks or you can. That's not an issue here. All right, Vishanti, anything else? Okay, I had to share another slide with you because for further information, you can use these things. Okay, and also, yes, there's another important thing before you go. Please don't leave. I have to share with you an online. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to just share with you. Please check the chat. I think Lanka, Dr. Lanka, you need to do this. I'm going to send it to you. This link, please share it with everybody so that everybody can see this link. And that's a feedback form. If you click, there'll be very simple feedback form. You can just click on. So it will help us to deliver a better service next time when things like this come. Okay. Dr. Lanka Udungoda, can you do that for me, if you don't mind? Can you share it?
I think now it is in the chat box.
It's already there. Okay, excellent. So please go to the chat box and click on that link, and then you will get. Even you can do it after this. Please spend us some 2 or 3 minutes to give us a very good feedback on what's going on, how it went on, whether you benefited. Okay, please do so. Okay, Krishanti has also shared it. D. Silva, can you see it? Probably you can see now. Okay, still we have 10 minutes more. I am open for any questions. Okay, somebody is asking what courses are available at the British Council. Krishant, is there a possibility of you giving this an answer for this? What courses are available? There are.
Yes, so for IELTS preparation, there are two types of courses. One is basically like a crash course. That is, if you are already ready to take the test, but you just need to do a bit of last minute preparation for the test. In that case, you can go for that course, which is a shorter course. Whereas if you think you need a bit more preparation, a bit more time to prepare, you can go for the longer course. So those are the two types of IELTS preparation courses that are on offer. But before you select a course, you will have to sit for an online level check. So based on the results of that online level check test only, you will be recommended to pick a course. So you can't like directly go and join the shorter or the longer course. It depends on your current skill level.
Okay, I think that's a very good explanation given there. Thank you, Kushanti. Okay, those are the questions. So, I think it's time for me to thank you, the organizing committee or whoever, especially Dr. Lanka, and on British Council, Kushanti and Shani is also there. And thank you very much for inviting me for this wonderful discussion. I really enjoyed those questions, and wonderful questions were asked. Thank you very much for participating.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much everyone for participating in this workshop. Really sorry for the inconvenience occurs during this session due to the connection errors or something else. Mr. Naaren, thank you so much for sharing this knowledge and experiences with us. Actually, this program was very successful and we get know very important facts about this international examination. Actually, thanks again, sir. And a special thanks should goes to the career guiding units of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. And especially I should mention about Miss Chatu, Miss Krishanti and Dr. Lanka here. I'm grateful to you all for giving this opportunity to us. So thank you everyone. Once again, Mr. Naaren, thank you so much. See you all again workshop like this. Then thank you everyone.
Thank you very much, Buddhi, for wonderful closing notes. Thank you. Sorry, excuse me. So I wish you all the best in your endeavors. Hopefully, when you do your exams, I wish you all the best for a successful life. And this IELTS is the window through which you can see the whole world, and it opens so many doors once you do this. And thank you very much for your time. Krishanti, once again, thank you. So I'll wait somebody to close the session. I'm just going to wait here. Thank you very much. I enjoyed this presentation. And please don't forget to give your feedback on that form.
Thank you very much, Mr. Naaren and Ms. Krishanti.
Thank you, Dr. Lanka.
Thank you very much, Krishanti. Chatu here. And
Hi, Miss Chatu.
helping to organize this workshop on behalf of the technology faculty students. And Mr. Narendra, thank you very much for joining us. And so then Dr. Lanka and the students who helped me on behalf of the technology faculty, I remind those names also. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you and good night.